Now I'll bet we're really excited to find out if this universal app is going to work, if it's really going to work on both an iPhone and an iPad, and if it's going to have totally different interfaces as we built them in the standalone versions. Well, here we are in our universal version of our My World app. Now, as you recall, we just dragged into the iPad group of this universal app the MyPad World App Delegate and the MyPad World View Controller code files, as well as the Settings View Controller code files. We also dragged in the Settings View Controller nib file and the iPad View Controller nib file. And all these are ready to try in a universal app setting. Here again is our settings nib file with its user interface elements for the modal dialog. And these are all in the iPad group. And we still have our My World app delegate, our main window for the My World app, which includes a UI scroll view, its main view, which includes its I button down here, and its flip side view, which has its user interface elements for setting the speed of the animation and the words. So we have both projects essentially combined, plus we have combined the falling image, the background image, and the windsurfer image, all in the same project. So let's go to the top here, select My World. We've selected the My World target. We see that the device is set to universal. Now, in order to test this on both an iPhone and an iPad, we first test them on the iPhone simulator and the iPad simulator, both of which run in the iOS simulator. The Scheme pop-up menu right here allows us to switch from one to the other. And essentially, the Scheme pop-up menu lets you specify the configuration to use for any build. It tells Xcode the purpose of the product to be built. Okay, and these are the ones that are supplied with your project automatically, but you can edit these schemes and even create new schemes, which are beyond the scope of this tutorial. But suffice to say that you can go through and actually, if you chose to edit the schemes, you would see that you have lots of potential preferences to set for your configuration. So what we're going to do is first, we're going to try and see if the iPhone code still works for the My World app. And we're going to do that by selecting iPhone 4.3 Simulator and clicking the Run button. And we're going to cross our fingers. So first it builds, and the build is successful. That's a good sign. And there's our Peace on Earth on the iPhone. Let's make sure everything is working. We click the eye, and yes, the flip side view appears with everything that seems to work. The test advertisement, we click on that, and the test advertisement works as well. So we can close that. If we wanted to, we could change the settings to be faster, and it's running much faster. So the settings work, and of course we know the text works. So we have what we think is a completely functional iPhone app running as a universal app, and if we swipe to the right, we'll see we also have the image picker, and we click that I button, and we'll see we have the image picker right here for the photo albums. And we click cancel, and we can swipe back to our Peace on Earth. And just to make sure the text field works, we'll click on that again. We'll click here, and we'll type now. And we'll hit the exclamation point. And we'll click done. And there is our text. Now we will see if it works with the settings. We'll close the app. We'll swipe to the left and open the Settings app. As you recall, we had set up the My World preferences so you can change them in the Settings app. And sure enough, not only are the settings here, but they've been updated to Peace on Earth now. So let's change that. We will change the text to Save the Earth. We're using on purpose the keyboard here simply to show you that you can. You could actually just use your computer keyboard to do it faster. Save the Earth, click Settings, click Done. Now, if we double click here, there's our My World app running in the background. Let's click it and see if it picked up. And it did. It picked up the new settings. Our settings are working perfectly in the iPhone app, as well as the ad. If we click on here, we see it's right there in the settings dialog on the flip side view. Our iPhone app works fine. So let's quit the iPhone app, jump back into Xcode and stop the program, and go back to the iOS simulator and choose in the iOS simulator menu, Reset Content and Settings, and click the Reset button so that we have a fresh simulator to work with. Then we can quit the simulator by choosing Quit in the iOS simulator menu. So rest assured, we now still have our iPhone app working exactly as before. But you remember, in this iPad group here, all this code that hasn't run yet. So let's see what we can do with this code. In order to change to the iPad simulator, we choose iPad 4.3 simulator here. So now we click the Run button, and it'll build for the iPad simulator. First good signs are build successful. Second good sign is the animation's working. How about that? And it has different settings, peace on earth. So let's see if our I button works and brings up a modal dialog. And it does. Let's click the Done button and it goes back. Let's tap anywhere and it brings up the modal dialog. Let's drag the speed slider and see if it goes faster. And it's going much faster in the background, as you can see. Drag this down and slow it down. Drag it back to about normal. Let's change the text. This time I will use the keyboard because it's faster. This time, save the earth and click Done. And there's Save the Earth. And if we swipe to the right a couple of times, it goes much faster. There it goes, much faster. If we swipe to the left a few times, it slows it down. Now you can see that we have successfully implemented both the iPad version of the app and the iPhone version into one app, a universal app. We quit here and then double click. We'll see it's running in the background. Click it again and it's back. So we have now finished the universal version of the app, which is most likely the version we would want to distribute. Well, of course, we're going to have to also include some things in the distribution version of the app, which we'll get to in the next lesson.